So welcome. You're just about to be the newest member of the art colony in Provincetown. So tell us about your new venture.
Ready to make a splash.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, Roger. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I'm really excited. So this is a totally new venture for me. I've been doing queer, figurative, and portrait art for about 4 years now. So very, very short in terms of time span. But prior to that, I was a lawyer doing LGBT rights litigation at Lambda Legal. And so, yeah, I have a background in doing queer rights advocacy, and some of my portrait work reflects that kind of passion that I have for queer icons.
So how would you describe your art then?
I try to describe it as it's portrait and figurature work that is done with as few lines as possible. It's got a sense of whimsy. Some of the work can be erotic. I do a lot of live nudes, drawings from life. I host queer drawing sessions. So even when they're erotic, there's always a sense of flow, of whimsy. Yeah.
So we'll talk about your other full-time job in a minute, which I'm interested in. But how long have you dreamed about having your own gallery and have it in PTown?
It happened this winter, so it was not on my radar at all. But then it just so happens that I've been doing most of my artwork during the pandemic. It's been gaining a lot of visibility, mostly because of people just being stuck in their houses. So they've gone to social media, they've turned to art, and it's really exploded. And I did Art Gazel, which is down in Miami, and I think you were there as well.
You were in Art Gazel?
Yeah, it was my very first time.
Why did we miss you then?
I don't know. I was tucked away. I mean, it might have been that it was my very first time doing it. So I got a feeling for it, how I would present. A lot of the work that I did there was commission based. So people who would just walk through and be like, oh, will you draw me in the bathroom? And so I would draw them in the bathroom and sell artwork that way. And I feel like I got bitten by a bug. It was just so, I just loved talking about it, exploring the art with people. It was fantastic. So that's what gave me the confidence to know that I could do this in my own gallery. And when Gaston Lacombe, who is across the way from me in Whalers Wharf, he called me up and he was like, Greg Salvatore is leaving across the street. If you want to do this, have you ever thought about it? And I hadn't, but I thought about it seriously and emailed the owner of the place right away to see if I could rent it. So here we go.
Great. We're excited to tell you about also the proprietor of Art Gazel is now a resident in PTown. And we're expecting to see a mini Art Gazel in June at the Commons, but more about later. Back to Eric. So one of the reasons I like welcoming you is because you're another queer artist doing queer work. And I've got to be in my bonnet about there's nothing wrong with landscapes and pictures of Cape Cottage, but the new generation of younger queer people don't necessarily want what us old farts want. So I'm excited about that. Did you have a particular theory? Did you say no landscapes, or this is what you want to do anyway?
Yeah, definitely. I like working with people and depicting people's life, but I also, my whole life is doing and representing queer people, and lifting up their stories, lifting up, LGBT rights through litigation, but that's telling queer stories too. And so, I'm really surprised when I was in Miami at Art Gazel, all of that work is very queer focused. Sexuality is wrapped up in identity in all of the work. And then coming to PTown, it's like you've got a lot of queer artists doing those landscapes. And I've even had a few of them come over and be like, oh, this is very, they'll use the word like dirty, or, oh, there are kids here. And it's just like, are you, this is what we are and who we are and how we love and how we express ourselves. And so I'm really, really excited. I think it's going to be a fit, but you do hear, from certain people that have been doing landscapes that like, oh, I don't know, is there a market for this here? So I certainly hope so.
Well, we for one believe there is. We love Greg, we love Gaston, and we like anybody that's making queer art for queer people, because that's as we are. But let's just, as we say in England, touch on the sordid topic of coin. How affordable are your pieces?
I mean, I've done a lot of research going through the other art galleries. I do a lot of ink work that is line work. It's smaller. It's my figurative work. And most of that starts at around $350 to $400. So very affordable. My commissions are around $500 if you wanted to be drawn yourself. And then some of my bigger work ranges all the way up to like 2,000. And I do a lot of work in kind of graphic design, but then it's projected in prints on a bigger scale, or acrylic on glass. And those pieces are in that 2,000 range.
Let's talk about you being a lawyer. You're not only a lawyer, but you're recognized as one of the best LGBT lawyers under 40. I'm not sure if that still fits. And by the National LGBT Bar Association, of which you are now its executive director. What exactly does that entail?
I went to law school later in life, just like with my artwork. I was an actor before then, went to law school later in life to have a little bit more of a sense of making a difference. And yeah, I've been doing litigation at Lambda Legal, and I particularly focus on judicial selection. So making sure that we get queer judges appointed to the state, federal benches. That's been my passion. I train judges about how to treat queer people fairly. And through that work is where I've really been recognized for, the kind of work and how important it is. There are very few, Biden is appointing all of these federal judges, and so few of them have been LGBTQ. And so it really takes pushing about why that's so important. And so, yeah, I'm still passionate about that. I'll continue to do that while I'm drawing on the beach.
Well, I've learned something today for change. And I want to thank you on behalf of the community for the work you're doing. If I'm a queer person with a legal problem, do I contact you or do I contact a lawyer?
It depends. I am a great screening mechanism. If you want to talk to me about what you think might be a legal problem and where you need to go, I'm definitely your point person. If you want to be on the federal bench and you're a judge yourself, I'm your point person. But otherwise, I'm barred in New York, so nobody in Massachusetts is going to be able to pick my brain. But otherwise, absolutely.
So if you go into the gallery, buy some art, don't talk lawyers.
Okay.
So tell us, Eric, you're involved in another project outside of PTown called Portraits of Pride. What's that about?
So I started out just doing these online with no particular home. They were just going to be housed on my social media, but they were drawings every single day during the month of June last year, depicting different LGBTQ icons throughout US history. So Bayard Rustin, Larry Kramer, Edie Windsor, people that really changed history that weren't being celebrated in a visible way. And I particularly think with this Don't Say Gay bill and the like, where we've seen people trying to suppress any kind of notion of talking about queer people, their history, their contributions. There are about 50, I think, portraits now, all of icons that have passed, but that made some significant contribution. They're all done in ink. They'll be hanging, some of them will be hanging in my gallery in PTown. They'll be showing at the LGBT Center in Denver. So yeah, I'm really excited about that work.
Well, you do realize, Eric, no matter how long you are here, like me, you'll always be considered by the local people a wash ashore.
Right.
You have to come over to Mayfair to be considered a local. They're really strong like that.
Right.
But it will not stop the community welcoming you with open arms. And you're a great addition to the art colony, and welcome and have a great, successful first season.
Roger, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for spending time with me.